The cold from the stone floor seeps through the thin fabric of my trousers, a familiar chill that has become a permanent part of me. My knees ache, a dull throb that beats in time with the rhythmic slosh of my rag in the bucket of soapy water. The scent of lye and whetstone is the scent of my life, a harsh perfume that clings to my skin and hair, marking me as what I am, an omega, a servant, less than. The great hall of the Silverwood Pack is vast, its vaulted ceilings lost in shadow, but I keep my eyes down, focused on the small circle of flagstones my work has made clean. It is safer to remain unseen, a ghost polishing the floors while life happens around me. My wolf, a timid creature I have not felt stir in years, is a silent, hollow space in my soul. She went quiet a long time ago, after the cold settled in for good. 5 years. 5 years since I fled the Onyx Fang Pack with nothing but the clothes on my back and a wound in my heart so deep I thought it would tear me apart. Here in Silverwood I am Ilara, the quiet maid with the haunted eyes. No one knows my story. No one knows that I was once meant to be a queen. The memory comes unwanted, a phantom scent on the air, pine and winter frost, the scent of my mate, the scent of Alpha King Kalen. It ambushes me sometimes, so vivid it makes my knees weak. For one blinding moment, I am 18 again, standing in the line of pack members presenting themselves to their new king. He moved down the line, a god of raw power and authority, his black hair brushing the collar of his leather armor. His eyes, the color of storm clouds, swept over the crowd with bored indifference until they landed on me. The world had tilted on its axis. The air crackled, charged with an energy that stole the breath from my lungs. Mate? My wolf had screamed, a joyous, triumphant sound that echoed in my skull. His eyes widened, shock warring with disbelief. I saw the recognition in their depths, the same primal pull that was yanking my soul toward his. The scent of him, pine and frost and sheer dominance, flooded my senses. It was the scent of home, of destiny. For a single beautiful heartbeat, I had felt hope. I, a low-born Omega, was the fated mate of the Alpha King. It was a miracle, a fairy tale made real. The miracle soured to ash in my mouth. The very next day I was summoned to the throne room. I stood before him, my hands trembling, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs. The entire pack was there, their whispers like the rustle of dry leaves. Kalen sat on the throne of carved obsidian, his face a mask of cold duty. He did not look at me. He looked past me at his council of elders, their faces grim and disapproving. He had spent the night with them, and they had filled his head with poison, with talk of bloodlines and strength. An Omega mate was a weakness the Onyx Fang Pack could not afford. Ilara of no notable bloodline. His voice was not the warm growl I had heard in my dreams. It was the crack of breaking ice. The moon goddess, in her infinite and sometimes questionable wisdom, has marked you as my mate. A murmur went through the crowd. I felt hundreds of eyes on me, judging, dissecting. I wanted to shrink into the stone. But a king's first duty is to his pack. Our bloodline must remain strong. Our pack requires a Luna of power and standing, not a servant. Each word was a physical blow. The hope inside me shriveled, turning black and brittle. My wolf whimpered, a wounded animal sound that only I could hear. No, he cannot. He stood then, towering over me. The proximity made the bond flare, a desperate, agonizing pull between us. My body yearned to be closer, even as my mind reeled from his cruelty. I could smell his inner turmoil beneath the cold facade, the scent of his own wolf raging against his decision. But he mastered it. He mastered himself. Therefore, before this pack, and before the goddess herself, I, Alpha King Kalen of the Onyx Fang, reject you, Alara, as my mate and my Luna. The words hung in the air, final and absolute. A collective gasp rippled through the hall. The bond between us, that beautiful, vibrant cord of light and destiny, frayed and then snapped. The pain was indescribable. It was not a clean break. It was a violent tearing, a shredding of my very soul. I collapsed to my knees, a scream clawing at my throat, but no sound came out. I felt the pack's scorn, their pity, their relief. I was the inconvenience that had been dealt with. The king had made the hard, correct choice. "You are no longer welcome in this territory," he added, his voice devoid of all emotion. "Leave by sunset, or you will be hunted as a rogue." He turned his back on me then, a final, damning dismissal, and I, broken and bleeding on the inside, crawled from his throne room and ran. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs gave out, the echoes of their judgment chasing me through the forest. The next few weeks were a blur of hunger and fear. I was barely aware of the world around me, the pain of the rejected bond a constant screaming agony. It was a physical sickness, a fever that left me weak and trembling. Then came a new sickness, a nausea that rose in my stomach every morning. I was pregnant. A tiny, impossible life was growing inside me, the product of a bond that no longer existed. A pup. Kalen's pup. The knowledge was both a horror and a miracle. It gave me a reason to live, to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I had to survive for my child. I found shelter in a cave deep in the neutral lands between territories, surviving on what I could forage. The seasons turned. My belly grew. The loneliness was a crushing weight, but the feel of my pup kicking inside me was a constant reminder that I was not truly alone. When the time came, it was a brutal, bloody affair. Alone in the dark, with only the winter wind for a midwife, I brought my son into the world. He was so small, so perfect. He had his father's shock of black hair. I held him to my chest, my heart swelling with a love so fierce it eclipsed all the pain. But he was cold, too cold. He didn't cry. He didn't move. His little chest was still. Grief, sharper and more terrible than the rejection, tore through me. I had failed him. I had brought him into a world of cold and darkness only for him to die in it. I lay with his small, still body for a day, maybe two, my tears freezing on my cheeks. My own life was guttering out, my body broken from the labor, my spirit shattered. I knew I was dying. With the last of my strength, I wrapped my son in my worn cloak and placed him at the base of an ancient oak tree, a makeshift grave for a life that never began. Then I stumbled away, wanting to find my own place to die, to not taint his resting place with my failure. I collapsed in the snow, and the world went black. I awoke to the scent of herbs and warm broth. A kind, elderly woman from a small border village had found me. She nursed me back to health, her gentle hands and soft words a balm on my wounded soul. I never told her about my pup. The grief was a private, sacred thing. When I was strong enough, I made my way to the Silverwood Pack, the farthest I could get from the Onyx Fang lands. I offered myself as a servant, my Omega status ensuring I would be given the lowest of jobs. It was what I wanted. I wanted to be invisible. I wanted to scrub floors until my hands were raw, to focus on the physical pain so I wouldn't have to feel the echoing emptiness inside me. The part of me that had been a mother, the part of me that had been a mate, had died in that cave. All that was left was Alara, the maid. 3 months later, I am scrubbing the same floors, lost in the monotonous rhythm of the work. The Silverwood pack is a good pack. Their alpha, Lord Valerius, is a kind man, fair and just. He rules with a quiet strength that is the opposite of Kalen's explosive dominance. Here, Omegas are not treated with scorn, but with a gentle pity. It is a peaceful, if hollow, existence. I have built a fragile shell around myself, a wall of silence and hard work. No one can hurt me if no one can see me. The next morning, a strange energy buzzes through the castle. The other servants whisper in excited tones. There is to be a summit. An alliance is being forged. My blood runs cold when I hear the name of the visiting Alpha, King Kalen. He is coming here, to Silverwood. A panic I haven't felt in years claws at my throat. I cannot see him. I cannot face the man who broke me. The bond is broken, but the scar tissue is tender. Seeing him would rip it wide open. I resolve to make myself even more invisible, to stay in the kitchens, to hide in the laundry rooms. He will never even know I am here. For 2 days, my plan works. I hear the sounds of the Onyx Fang delegation arriving, the deep, commanding voice of their king echoing in the courtyard, and I shrink further into the shadows of the scullery. I scrub pots until my knuckles bleed, the harsh scrape of metal on metal, a welcome distraction. But on the 3rd day, during the grand welcoming feast, I am tasked with carrying a fresh tray of bread to the kitchens. It requires a short walk across the far end of the gardens. The air is cool, scented with night-blooming jasmine, and for a moment I let my guard down, breathing in the peace. That is when I see him. A small boy, no older than 5, with a mop of unruly black hair and eyes the color of a stormy sky. He is sitting alone on a stone bench, his small shoulders slumped. He looks lost. My heart gives a painful lurch. He looks familiar. A strange, maternal pull I have ruthlessly suppressed for years tugs at my core. He is just a child, a lonely child. I cannot simply walk past him. I approach slowly, cautiously, as one might approach a frightened fawn. "Are you lost, little one?" I ask, my voice soft from disuse. He looks up at me, his gray eyes wide and swimming with unshed tears. He doesn't answer, he just stares at me, his gaze intense, searching. He sniffs the air, his little nose twitching. A look of profound confusion and then dawning recognition crosses his face. He slides off the bench and takes a hesitant step toward me. He reaches out a small hand and touches my rough, work-worn fingers. A tiny spark, a faint echo of a bond I thought long dead, zings up my arm. My breath catches. It cannot be. It is impossible. My son is dead. I buried him myself. This must be a trick of my grieving mind. The little boy's face crumples. A single tear traces a path through the dirt on his cheek. His small hand tightens on mine. He looks up at me, his expression one of pure, heart-wrenching certainty, and he whispers a single, impossible word that shatters the fragile peace I have built over 5 years. "Mama." His voice is a fragile thing, full of a longing so deep it cracks on the single word. "Mama," he says again, his grip on my hand becoming desperate. He is crying now, silent tears streaming down his face as he looks up at me with an expression of pure, unadulterated need. My mind screams denial. No, it's not possible. My baby is gone, but my body, my soul betrays me. The phantom ache in my womb, a constant companion for 5 years, flares with a sudden, sharp intensity. The scent of him, clean and milky like a newborn pup, with an undercurrent of pine and frost, floods my senses. his father's scent. I I think you're mistaken, I managed to choke out, my voice trembling. I tried to pull my hand away, but he clings to me, his small body shaking with sobs. No, he insists, his voice thick with tears. You smell right. You smell like home. Every instinct I have buried, every maternal urge I have starved into submission, rises like a tidal wave. I want to scoop him into my arms, to hold him against my chest, and tell him everything will be all right. But I cannot. This is the Alpha King's son, the lost pup, they call him. Whispers followed Kalen's delegation, tales of a son found miraculously in the woods as an infant, mother unknown, a son the king keeps close but seems unable to connect with, and he is calling me Mama. Liam! A voice rings out across the garden, sharp with authority and edged with panic, a voice that haunts my nightmares. I freeze, my blood turning to ice in my veins. Kalen. He emerges from the shadows of the colonnade, a towering figure of power and command. His eyes scan the garden, and when they land on us, on his son, clinging to the hand of a lowly maid, they narrow. He starts toward us, his long strides eating up the distance. The air grows heavy, thick with his dominant aura. As he gets closer, the dormant scar of our bond rips open. It is not the gentle pull of recognition from 5 years ago. It is a brutal, agonizing explosion of sensation. 5 years of his loneliness, his regret, his cold fury crash into me. I feel the constant gnawing pain he has lived with, the self-loathing his wolf directs at him. It is overwhelming. I stumble back, my head spinning. His eyes, which had been focused on his son, lift to my face, and for the second time in my life, I see recognition dawn in the eyes of Alpha King Kalen. But this is not the shocked hope of a new mate. This is the horror of a man seeing a ghost. His stride falters. He stops dead, 10 feet away from me, his face already pale, drains of all color. Hilara? He breathes, my name a ghost on his lips. It is not a question. It is a statement of disbelief, of a world fundamentally broken and remade in a single instant. The scent of lavender, my scent, which he must have thought lost forever, hits him. I can see the physical impact it has on him. He staggers as if struck. His wolf, his powerful inner beast, which I can feel roiling under his skin, howls in his mind. Mate, alive. Ours is alive. The force of it is a palpable wave of energy that washes over me, making my own dormant wolf stir for the first time in half a decade, a weak, confused flutter in the abyss of my soul. Papa, it's her, the boy Liam says, turning to his father. It's Mama. Kalen's gaze drops from my face to his son's hand, still clutching mine. He looks at Liam's black hair, his stormy gray eyes. He looks at my face, and the last pieces of the puzzle fall into place in his mind with the force of an avalanche. The abandoned mate, the miraculously found son, the timeline, the impossible catastrophic truth. His breath leaves him in a harsh, ragged gasp. He looks at me, and in his eyes I see the ruin of a man. I see 5 years of cold certainty turned to dust. I see the dawning comprehension of the magnitude of his mistake. He did not just reject his mate. He cast out his pregnant mate, left her to die, and condemned his own son to 5 years without a mother. My fear hardens into something cold and sharp. The frightened girl he banished is gone. In her place is a woman who has survived the unsurvivable. I gently detach my hand from Liam's, my heart twisting at the wounded look on the boy's face. I stand up straighter, lifting my chin, and meet the king's shattered gaze with all the ice I can muster. I believe your son is tired, your majesty. I say, my voice level and cold. He is mistaken. I am just a servant. I turn to leave, to retreat to the safety of my invisibility. Wait! Kalen's voice is a raw, broken command. It holds none of his usual authority. It is the sound of a man begging. I do not wait. I walk away, my back straight, not allowing myself to run. I can feel his eyes on me, can feel the maelstrom of his emotions, the violent war between his mind and his wolf. I can feel the desperate pull of the bond he himself severed, now screaming for a reunion he can never have. I do not look back. I retreat into the castle, leaving the Alpha King standing in the moonlight with his son, finally, truly alone with the ghosts of what he has destroyed. Lord Valerius finds me in the kitchens. My composure had lasted until I was out of sight, and then I had crumbled, hiding in the pantry with my back against the stone wall, trying to breathe. He does not ask what happened. He simply sits on a crate of potatoes nearby, his presence a quiet, comforting weight in the small space. Valerius is a man of patience. His scent is of old books and warm earth, a calming balm to Kalen's raging storm. The king is distressed, Valerius says after a long silence. His voice is gentle. He has no right to be, I whisper, my voice rough. Perhaps not, he agrees, but the heart and the wolf do not care for rights. Ilara, that boy. He trails off, letting the question hang in the air. My son died, I say, the words tasting like poison. I buried him. It is the truth, as I have known it for 5 years, but the boy's touch, his scent, a seed of impossible doubt, has been planted. What if I was wrong? What if, in my grief and delirium, I left behind a living child? The thought is a new kind of agony. The king's pup was found wrapped in a worn cloak at the base of an ancient oak in the neutral lands. Valerius says softly, his eyes full of a sad understanding. Almost 5 years ago, he was near death from the cold, but he was alive. The breath is stolen from my lungs. Every detail is a nail hammering the truth into my heart. My cloak, the oak tree, the timing, the little boy with his father's eyes who smells like home. My son is alive. I have been grieving a ghost while my living, breathing child was raised by the man who cast us out. The wave of emotion is too much. A dry, ragged sob escapes me, a sound of pure anguish. Valerius moves then, placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. He does not offer platitudes. He simply stays, a silent anchor in my storm. The next few days are a special kind of hell. The summit must continue. Kalen is trapped at Silverwood Keep, and I am trapped with him. He tries to approach me, his eyes pleading, but I refuse to be cornered. I use my knowledge of the castle's servant passages to evade him, melting into the walls whenever he draws near. I see him at meals, sitting at the high table next to Valerius. He does not eat. He just watches me as I move silently along the edges of the hall, refilling goblets and clearing plates. His stare is a physical weight, heavy with a despair so profound it makes the broken bond between us ache with sympathetic agony. His suffering should bring me satisfaction. This is his justice. His wolf, I can feel, is tearing him apart from the inside. Ours, fix it, claim, protect. The primal commands are a constant barrage against his human guilt. He is sleepless. I can tell by the dark circles under his eyes. He is a king, crumbling from the inside out. But I feel no triumph. Seeing him so broken only reminds me of my own brokenness. We are two halves of a whole, and his pain echoes in the hollows of my own soul. Liam, My son seeks me out constantly. He appears in the laundry while I am folding sheets, in the gardens while I am weeding. He doesn't speak much. He just watches me with those solemn gray eyes, his presence a constant, painful reminder of all I have lost. I keep my distance, my heart tearing itself to pieces with every beat. I cannot let myself love him. I cannot attach myself to a child who belongs to another world, a world that rejected me. To claim him would be to declare war on the Alpha King, and I am still just an Omega Maid. One afternoon, while I am mending linens in a quiet solar, he comes in and sits on a small stool near my feet. He holds a small carved wooden wolf. For a long time he is silent, and then he speaks, his voice small. "My wolf is quiet," he says, not looking at me. "Papa says he is sleeping, but I think he is just sad." My hands still. "Why do you think he is sad?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. "'Cause he doesn't have a mama," Liam says simply, finally looking up at me. "All the other pups have mamas. Their wolves like to sing with their mama's wolf. Mine has no one to sing with." The simple, childish truth of it devastates me. The connection between a mother and pup is a primal thing, a song shared between their wolves. My wolf is silent. His is lonely. We are both incomplete. Before I can stop myself, I reach out and brush a lock of black hair from his forehead. His skin is soft. He leans into my touch, his eyes fluttering shut. "Mine," a voice whispers in my head. It is faint, rusty from disuse, but it is there. My wolf. She is not dead. She is waking up. The stirring inside me is more than just my wolf. It is something else, a warmth that spreads from my chest, through my veins. The wilting flower in a vase on the table beside me begins to revive, its petals slowly uncurling, its color deepening. I snatch my hand back from Liam as if burned, staring at the plant in shock. It has happened before, small, unexplainable things. A sick bird I held recovering in minutes, herbs in my care growing twice as fast. I had always dismissed it. Now I am not so sure. That night, Valerius summons me to his study. He has been watching the unfolding drama with his quiet, intelligent eyes. "Ilara," he says, his tone serious, "your presence here has become a complication." "I will leave," I say immediately, my heart sinking. "I will not cause you trouble, my lord." "No," he says, holding up a hand. "That is not what I mean. I will not cast you out. But you cannot continue as a servant. Not now." He gestures to a book on his desk, its pages yellowed with age. "Your family name. You said you were of no notable bloodline. What was it?" "I do not have one," I say. "My mother was a rogue who died giving birth to me." "But her name was Lyra, was it not?" he asks gently. I stare at him, shocked. It was a name I had not spoken in years. "How did you know?" The women of the Whisperwood line were all given names of the stars: Lyra, Cassia, Andromeda. They were said to be descended from the moon goddess herself. He explains, his eyes intent on my face. They were not shifters in the traditional sense. They were life weavers. They could coax life from barren soil and heal mortal wounds. They were hunted to extinction centuries ago, their power feared. It was believed the bloodline was lost. He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. Until now. The room spins, a life weaver, the daughter of a lost, magical bloodline. It explains the strange occurrences, the pull animals felt toward me, the awakening power I felt when I touched my son. I am not just an Omega. I am something more, something powerful, something that might have been deemed a threat to an alpha king who prized strength above all else. Perhaps my mother hid me as an omega for my own protection. Calin did not just reject an omega, Valerius says, his voice grim. He rejected a gift from the goddess herself, and he will have to answer for it. He closes the book. From this day forward, you are no longer a servant in my household. You are my honored guest, and you will be afforded every protection. It is time for you to decide what you want, Ilara, not as an omega, but as the woman you truly are. His words give me a strength I did not know I possessed. The next day, I do not wear my drab servant's uniform. I wear a simple but elegant blue gown from the wardrobe Valerius provided. I walk into the great hall for the midday meal, my head held high. The whispers stop. Everyone stares. I ignore them, taking a seat at a small table, away from the head table, but very much in the room. I can feel Caelin's eyes on me, burning with a desperate intensity. I meet his gaze, and for the first time, I do not look away. I let him see that I am not the broken girl he threw away. Caelin's point of view shifts. I watch her walk into the hall, and the air is punched from my lungs. She is not dressed in the gray rags of a servant. She wears the color of the sky, a deep blue that makes her pale skin seem to glow. She is radiating a quiet confidence I have never seen before. This is not the ghost I have been chasing through the corridors of this keep. This is a queen, my wolf, a beast of rage and self-hatred for 5 years, rears up inside me, not with its usual snarl of recrimination, but with a possessive, desperate roar. Ours! Finally, take her! But I cannot. I have no right. Every night since I saw her in the garden, I have been tormented. Sleep does not come. When it does, I dream of her face as I rejected her, the light in her eyes dying. I dream of her pregnant and alone in the wilderness. I wake up clawing at my own skin, the scent of lavender and phantom pain filling my senses. The bond, raw and exposed, transmits the echoes of her 5 years of suffering directly into my soul. I feel the cold, the hunger, the terror of her exile. I feel the agony of childbirth, the crushing grief of a mother who believes her child is dead. It is a punishment more severe than any I could have imagined. I am drowning in her pain, and it is a pain I authored. My son, Liam, is a living testament to my failure. Since he met her, he has changed. There is a light in his eyes that was never there before. He speaks of her constantly, calling her Mama with a certainty that twists a knife in my gut. He looks at me with an accusation he is too young to understand he is making. He knows, on a primal level, that I am the reason his mother has not been with him. He is her son. He has her scent, her quiet strength, and I almost lost them both. My wolf snarls, "You did lose them. She is with another. He protects her. He sees her. You were blind." Valerius. The Silverwood Alpha sits beside me, his face calm, but his eyes are possessive when they look at Ilara. He has given her sanctuary. He has dressed her in fine clothes. He has uncovered the truth of her bloodline, a truth my own pride and paranoia kept me from seeing. While I was ruling my cold, empty kingdom, Valerius was protecting my mate. The jealousy that rips through me is a venomous white-hot thing. I want to tear him apart. But he is a good man. He did what I should have done. He cherished what I threw away. The external threat, the reason for this cursed summit, grows worse. Reports from my borders speak of shadow creatures, the umbra, pouring through a tear in the veil. They are mindless, ravenous things, drawn to sources of strong life energy. They are moving faster now, their attacks more coordinated. They seem to be searching for something, or someone. The thought sends a chill down my spine. Ilara's bloodline, life weavers, are they drawn to her? To our sun? The possibility is a new terror, one that eclipses even my own self-loathing. I have to protect them. I have to get her to accept my help. I finally corner her in the library. She is reading one of Valerius's old tomes, her brow furrowed in concentration. The light from the window catches the strands of silver in her pale blonde hair, making her look ethereal. She looks up as I approach, her blue eyes wary, guarded. The scent of lavender and old paper is intoxicating. "Ilara," I begin, my voice sounding rough to my own ears. "Your Majesty," she replies, her tone formal and cold. She makes a move to stand, to curtsy, a mocking gesture of the station she now holds. "Please do not," I say, my hand outstretched as if to stop her. "Do not do that." I drop my hand, feeling like a fool. "We need to talk." "I can think of nothing we have to say to one another," she says, her gaze dropping back to her book, a clear dismissal. "Liam is our son," I press, my voice cracking on the last word. "Our son, Ilara. He needs his mother." Her head snaps up, her eyes flashing with a fire I have never seen. "He needed his mother 5 years ago when his father threw her out into the wilderness to die," she says, her voice low and trembling with fury. "Do not speak to me of his needs. You forfeited that right when you chose your pride over your mate, over your own child." Her words are the truth, and they hit me with the force of a physical blow. I have no defense, no excuses. "I know," I say, my voice raw with unshed tears. "I know. There is nothing I can say to defend what I did. It was monstrous. I was a coward, a fool, blinded by the whispers of old men afraid of anything they could not control. I have lived in a cold hell of my own making every day since." I take a step closer, my entire being screaming to touch her, to fall to my knees and beg for her forgiveness. But the Umbra are coming. They are drawn to power, to life. They are drawn to you and to him. I need to protect you. "I have protection," she says, her gaze flicking pointedly toward the door of the library where one of Valerius's guards stands watch. "Lord Valerius has seen to my safety." The mention of his name is like salt in the wound. "He is a good alpha," I force myself to say. "But this is not a threat that can be met by guards. This is dark magic. It requires a different kind of strength, the strength of a bond." She gives a bitter, humorless laugh. "A bond? You mean the one you shattered in front of your entire pack? That bond?" "It is not shattered," I insist, desperate for her to understand. "It is damaged, it is bleeding, but it is still there. I can feel you, Ilara. I feel your pain, your anger. I feel your strength. Let me help you. Let me atone for what I have done. Let me be the man I should have been 5 years ago." She stands, her grace and composure a stark contrast to the turmoil raging inside me. She looks at me, her blue eyes searching my face, and, for a moment, I see a flicker of the girl I first met, the girl whose soul had called to mine. But it is gone as quickly as it came, replaced by the cool authority of a woman who has learned to survive on her own. "Atonement is not a word, Kaelin," she says, using my name for the first time. It sends a shock through my system. It is an action, and you have done nothing to earn the right to even speak to me of it. She walks past me, her shoulder brushing mine. The brief contact is an agony of sparks and longing. Stay away from me, and stay away from my son. Later that evening, Valerius finds me on the battlements, staring out at the darkening woods. "She is a remarkable woman," he says, coming to stand beside me. "She has a strength you never gave her credit for." "I was a fool," I say, my voice flat. "Yes," he agrees without malice, "you were, and now you must live with that. But I did not come here to lecture you. I came to tell you that I have released Ilara from any obligation to me. I offered her my protection, my name, my pack, a safe life. She is considering it." The world tilts. The thought of her, my mate, bound to another, is a physical pain so intense I have to grip the stone wall to stay upright. My wolf howls, a promise of murder and destruction. "But," Valerius continues, his eyes on the horizon, "I also told her that safety is not the same as happiness. I see the way you look at her. I feel the power that still arcs between you, and I have seen the way Liam looks at you both. A child deserves his family." He turns to look at me, his expression serious. "I will not stand in the way of that. I will not be her second choice, a comfortable port in a storm. She deserves a love that is fierce and true. Whether that is with you or not is her decision, but I am stepping aside so she can make it freely." He claps me on the shoulder, a gesture of unexpected solidarity. "Do not make the same mistake twice, Calen. Prove you are the man worthy of her. Her heart may be walled, but it is not dead." His words are a gift, a sliver of hope in my desolate landscape. He is a better man than I. He is willing to give her up for her own happiness, and I must do the same. I must prove my worth not by claiming her, but by protecting her, even if she never chooses me, even if it kills me. The storm breaks that night, a furious assault of wind and rain that batters the keep. But it is not an ordinary storm. The rain is black and viscous, and the wind howls with unnatural voices. The Umbra have come. Alarms cry out across the castle, the clang of steel and the shouts of guards echoing through the stone halls. They are not attacking the walls. They are seeping through them, materializing from the shadows themselves. My first thought is of Ilara and Liam. I race toward the guest wing where Valerius housed them, my sword in my hand, my wolf clawing for control. Protect, find, ours. The corridors are chaos. Guards fight swirling masses of shadow that solidify into claws and teeth, only to dissipate when struck. They are everywhere. I find her room. The door is splintered, hanging off its hinges. The room is empty. Panic, cold and absolute, seizes me. A trail of small, terrified whimpers leads me down a side passage. They are heading for the old crypts, the most fortified part of the keep. I follow, my heart pounding in my ears. I find them in the heart of the mausoleum, backed against an ancient sarcophagus. Ilara stands in front of Liam, her body a shield. She holds a silver letter opener, a pitiful weapon against the monstrosity before them. It is larger than the others, a vaguely wolf-like creature of solidified darkness, its red eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. It is a Shade Lord, a leader of the Umbra. It is focused entirely on Liam, its head cocked as if sensing the power in his blood. "Get away from him," Ilara snarls, her voice shaking but defiant. She is terrified, but she does not falter. She would die for our son. The love and admiration that swells in my chest is a painful, beautiful thing. The Shade Lord ignores her, taking a step forward. This is it. This is my chance. My only chance. Not for redemption. For atonement. I launch myself into the room, my body hitting the creature's flank with the force of a battering ram. It stumbles, its attention snapping to me. "Kalen!" Alara cries out, a mixture of shock and fear in her voice. "Get Liam out of here!" I roar, parrying a clawed strike that would have disemboweled me. "Go!" The creature is strong, unnaturally so. Its claws tear through my leather armor, ripping into my flesh. Pain explodes along my ribs, but I ignore it. I fight with a desperation I have never known, my only goal to keep its attention on me, to keep it away from them. But I am outmatched. It is too fast, too powerful. It lands a blow that sends me staggering back, my sword clattering to the floor. I am disarmed, bleeding, and between it and my family. The Shade Lord advances on me, a low growl rumbling in its shadowy chest. Elara has not run. She is frozen, clutching Liam, her eyes wide with horror. This is the moment, the action, not the word. I do the only thing I can. I do not try to fight. I do not try to run. I straighten up, look the beast in its burning red eyes, and then I drop to my knees. I lower my head and bare my throat. A gesture of ultimate submission. I am offering myself, my life, in exchange for theirs. It is the same submission I owe her, a public display of my surrender. I am the Alpha King, I say, my voice steady, projecting my power, my life force, to draw its attention fully. My life is worth more than theirs. Take me, let them go. The creature hesitates, its feral intelligence recognizing the offering. It leans in, its foul breath washing over my face. I close my eyes, ready for the end. My only regret is that I will not see my son grow up, will not see the incredible woman his mother has become. I am sorry, Elara, I think, a final, silent apology. I love you. Section. Just as the creature lunges, a brilliant, blinding light erupts from behind me. It is pure white and warm, smelling of new life and spring blossoms. The Shade Lord shrieks, a sound of pure agony, and recoils, shielding its eyes. I turn my head, my eyes widening in awe. The light is coming from Elara. It pours from her in waves, her hair floating around her as if she is underwater, her eyes glowing with a soft, golden luminescence. She is no longer just Elara. She is a force of nature, a goddess of life and light. The dormant power of her bloodline has awakened, ignited by her fierce, maternal need to protect her child. Ours, my wolf breathes in reverence. Protect. The voice is not just mine. It is hers too, a whisper in my mind, an echo across the bond. Protect. She holds one hand out toward the creature, the light concentrating there. You will not touch my family, she declares, her voice ringing with an ancient power that makes the very stones of the crypt tremble. The other hand she extends toward me. The light flows from her fingertips, sinking into my skin, warm and soothing. It knits my wounds together, staunching the flow of blood, easing the pain. It feels like absolution. It feels like grace. As her power flows into me, it does more than heal my body. It finds the frayed, bleeding ends of our mate bond and begins to weave them back together. It is not a forceful claiming, but a gentle, conscious offering. I can feel her in my mind, her emotions, her fear, her love. She has given me a choice. I open my soul to her completely, holding nothing back, showing her the depths of my regret, The boundlessness of my love I accept. With every fiber of my being I accept. The bond snaps into place, whole and complete. It is a supernova in my soul, 1,000 times more powerful than the first time. Her light floods me, my alpha strength floods her. We are two parts of a single, incandescent whole. The power is overwhelming, glorious. We rise together, turning to face the cowering Shade Lord. I do not need a sword. Power crackles at my fingertips, raw, untamed energy borrowed from her light. She stands beside me, a serene and terrible angel of righteous fury. We move as one, our powers intertwined. My raw physical dominance gives her light a form, a weapon. Her life-giving energy fuels my strength, making it absolute. The Umbra are creatures of shadow and despair. They cannot stand against pure life and true unity. We drive them back, not just the Shade Lord, but every shadow creature in the keep. A wave of our combined power radiates out from the crypt, a cleansing fire of golden light. The shadows dissolve with piercing shrieks, banished back to the realm from whence they came. The rift they tore open seals with a final, shuddering groan. And then there is silence. The storm outside breaks, and the first rays of dawn pierce through the high windows of the crypt, falling upon us. It is over. I look at Elara, my mate, my savior, my queen. The glow slowly fades from her, but the power remains, a quiet hum beneath her skin. She is breathtaking. Liam runs to her, and she scoops him into her arms, burying her face in his hair, her shoulders shaking with relieved sobs. Our son is safe. I take a hesitant step toward them, and she looks up, her blue eyes clear and full of an emotion I dare not name. I stop, giving her space. I will not push. I will not demand. I have earned nothing. I do the only thing that feels right. I sink to one knee before her and our son, my head bowed in submission. Elara, I say, my voice thick with emotion. My life is yours. My pack is yours. My heart has always been yours. I ask for nothing. I only wished for you to know. She is silent for a long moment. Then I feel her hand, warm and gentle, on my cheek. Get up, Kaelin, she says softly. I look up. There are tears on her face, but she is smiling. A king does not kneel to his queen. He stands beside her. In the great hall of Silverwood, before both our packs, I formally revoke my rejection. I tell them the truth of my blindness, my pride, and my foolishness. I tell them of Alara's hidden heritage, of her power, and of her courage. And then I step down from the dais where I stand with Valerius, and I kneel before her again. I am not worthy to be your mate, I say, my voice ringing with sincerity for all to hear. But I will spend the rest of my life trying to be. Elara, holding Liam's hand, walks toward me. She does not look at me with pity, but with a deep, abiding love that heals the last of my broken pieces. She places her hand over my heart. We are worthy of each other, she says, her voice clear and strong, because we are scarred, not broken. We have been reforged in the fire, and now we are stronger than we ever were apart. She helps me to my feet, and we stand before our people, a united front, a king, a queen, and their prince, a family, finally whole. 6 months later, the scent of lavender and pine is the scent of our home. The Onyx Fang Castle is no longer a cold, sterile place. Elara's presence has brought life back within its walls. Plants bloom in the stone courtyards, and laughter echoes in the halls. She rules beside me, not behind me. Her wisdom, born from suffering and strength, tempers my dominance. We are a better, more complete ruler together than I ever was alone. Liam is no longer a quiet, solemn child. He is happy, loud, and full of life. He spends his days training with me and his evenings listening to the ancient stories his mother tells him, her hands weaving glowing images in the air to match her words. His wolf has found its voice, and it sings with hers, a joyful, constant melody that I can feel through the bond. Sometimes at night, when she lies sleeping in my arms, I watch her and am struck by the sheer, improbable miracle of her. I trace the faint scars on her hands, reminders of her years of servitude, and my heart aches with the memory of my failure. The guilt will never fade completely, but it is no longer a destructive force. It is a reminder to cherish her, to honor her, to never again take for granted the gift the goddess gave me. She stirs, her eyes fluttering open as if she can feel my thoughts. "What is it?" she murmurs, her voice sleepy. "I love you," I say, the words as necessary as breathing. "I will never be done telling you that." She smiles, a soft, beautiful expression that is just for me. She touches the scar over my heart, the place the Shade Lord struck me, the place her light healed me. "I know," she whispers, leaning in to kiss me, "and I love you." In her arms, with the sound of our son breathing softly in the next room, I am finally home. The journey was a brutal one, through a hell of our own making, but we have emerged from the ashes. We are scarred, we are earned, but we are whole. And our song, the song of our bond, is the most beautiful sound in the world.